Hi, my name is Trejon, and today I am going to refute to speak by Nicole on the topic of vaccinations. Her main claim on this topic is following or joining the anti-vaccination movement is a mistake. A little preview in this topic is which she was not very clear on, is the anti-vaccination movement is the people that refuse to vaccinate their children because of medical, philosophical, or personal reasons, you should say, or religious reasons as well. Her supporting claims on the topic are, 1, anti-vaccinations have a negative effect on education. 2, not being vaccinated has caused and will cause outbreak. And 3, the anti-vaccination movement is allowing disease that was once uncommon to resurface. My first response to her first claim, which is anti-vaccinations has a negative effect on education, my response is that the anti-vaccination movement has little to no effect on education. She states that if you are not vaccinated and there's an outbreak, you may have to take your child out of school. But in reality, this may not be the case because all 50 states, according to the CDC, August 22nd, 2014, require all vaccinations such as polio, measles, mumps, and tetanus, and basically all the major vaccinations for all children at the ages around 5 years old for when they enter kindergarten. In the article published by CNN in February 2015, the CDC states that 95% of children in kindergarten have all these vaccinations in all the U.S., meaning there's only 5% of the actual population that is actually not vaccinated, that is roughly only 150,000 students over, that covers the whole U.S. And basically, going on, in Colorado, only 82% of the children in Colorado are not vaccinated, but this is a state that have a very low population, meaning that there is a lower chance of outbreak. And my response to our next claim, which is not being vaccinated has caused and will cause more outbreak, my response is scientifically vaccinations do prevent outbreak, but depending on the type of disease, which in fact can cause more outbreak itself. In an article by NVIC, the National Vaccination Information Center, by Barbara Lee Fisher, she states that pertussis, other known as whooping cough, has not prevented whooping cough disease from circulating in vaccinated populations. Meaning that whooping cough, even if you're vaccinated, you can still be diagnosed with the disease, and you cannot necessarily clear. You are not immune to it. You were just likely to get it in someone that is vaccinated. So she later states that a second reason that whooping cough is still circulated is because that there's another organism within whooping cough called pertussis, and pertussis basically is whooping cough just in a different organism, meaning that with the vaccination, you are still very vulnerable to whooping cough, and people that believe that they're vaccinated and they're fine, they can easily still get it just like anyone else. In my third claim, in her third claim, my response to that will be a large portion of outbreak cases were caused by several major factors, not just only children that were not vaccinated. Meaning that there are different types of ways that you can actually become. A factor to outbreak, such as one person spreading it, or basically your different types of ways like a contaminated water source, meaning there's multiple sources of people that actually get sick, and basically someone travels and comes back and brings disease here. Not just the fact that one person was not vaccinated and it caused everyone else to become sick. So to conclude, on the other hand, so to conclude, the following claims that you made, from point A, point B, and point C that I stated earlier in my speech, all basically have to go towards the fact that the anti-vaccination movement has little to no effect on education. Scientifically, vaccination do not prove outbreak but depend on the type of disease, which in fact increases outbreak. And a portion of outbreak cases would start by several causes, not only because of children not being vaccinated. Thank you for your time.
Okay, the structural stuff is fine. I do think that you need to have a couple of things that are a little bit clearer. And on the first point, I thought you did a good job saying, look, all 50 states require vaccination. We have higher levels of vaccination, and you've got the one statistic that says 95% of the kids entering kindergarten have vaccination. So that means only a very small number are not particularly vaccinated. So the inference here is that if the source of the risk is kids who aren't vaccinated, that's a entirely, tiny part of the population. I think that's a reasonable point. The evidence about Colorado, though, then turns around and seems to suggest that, except in Colorado, where 82% aren't vaccinated, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, that's the way you said it. So in essence, your argument here seems to suggest that there might be pockets of places where there aren't vaccination, and maybe that's the source of the problem. I don't know that that gets you anything. I thought the first part of the argument was pretty sound. That last part of the argument was just confusing. On the causality issue, in other words, you've got this argument that says vaccines don't necessarily prevent the disease. And this is important. This is an important argument, because if you're right on this, then it's not vaccinations or the absence of vaccinations that are responsible for outbreaks in these particular cases. And I think you want to have direct quotes. It sounds to me like you're paraphrasing or summarizing what's going on there, and it's better if you've got the direct quote here. I'm not saying that what you have here is wrong, but I'm saying that it's abstract enough, it's vague enough that I could probably have another interpretation of it, and it would be best not to be that vague, and make sure that you quote somebody directly. Also, I think you might want to qualify who the National Vaccination Information Center is, because that sounds very official, but it could just be like Jenny McCarthy and her friends who think that vaccines are bad. So I don't know who that group is, and if you could do something to qualify them a little bit more, I think that that would be helpful. On the third point, I thought you had a good idea for arguing counterclaims here. Again, I think you need more information to support that point. It sounds like there's going to be outbreaks because of contamination in water supplies and that sort of thing, but most of that sounds like it's asserted, and you need to have a little bit better information on that point. Okay, as you can tell, people are bursting in here.